Hey guys, this is Nick, and today I'm going to be going over not an exercise or a workout or a drill. I'm going to be going over three magic bullets to improve your mental and physical quality of life. If I look off screen now and then, it's because I brought a notebook. My memory's not as good as it once was, when I was a younger man. But, we'll get to that in a moment because it is relevant to this topic of discussion. So first, magic bullet, and I'm going to start from the most commonly seen to the least pleasant and therefore least commonly seen. Your first magic bullet is exercise. Exercise is linked to a dramatic variety of health benefits, from improved sleep quality, improved sex drive, looking down again, general boost in mood, due to a release in serotonin and dopamine. And it promotes blood flow and may stimulate areas of the brain associated with mood, stress control, motivation, and memory formation. And maybe you're listening to me read this off of my notebook here, looking directly at it, and thinking, what could this guy, who clearly does not have a very good memory, know about memory, and why would he be preaching about exercise in that capacity? A couple years ago, I was a stroke victim. I guess still am, and it took out a lot of my memory forming capacity. There would be times in the middle of a sentence I would forget the beginning of my sentence, or when other people were talking, I would kind of forget how I got to that point in the conversation, and I would just have to shut up and listen and try and, through context clues, get myself back into the game. More than once, I would be out with people, look around, and completely forget how I had gotten there. If I had been left on my own, which happened once, I would forget who I was with, and I just kind of looked around until I recognized the person that I came with. So, exercise, and specifically I feel martial arts, has really helped me get back into the game. Obviously, my memory's not at what it once was, but it's definitely better than it was 2 years ago. In addition to this, I am an open heart surgery patient. I know, a lot of things for a guy that looks my age. Exercise is linked to a reduction in risk for cardiac incident, meaning heart attacks generally, equal to medication designed to reduce risks of that nature. So to me, that I can get the same benefits as medication without having to medicate is pretty important. Now, I'm not saying throw away your Lipitor and start doing push-ups, but it wouldn't hurt to take your Lipitor and do push-ups. And exercises that cross the center line, so let's say you're swinging a stick, you're bringing your arm across your center. Exercises that are rhythmic in nature. This doesn't just mean martial arts, it can also mean jumping rope, dancing, digging when you're gardening, or I guess that one's not really rhythmic. But jumping rope, dancing, jogging, biking, anything that's got a set rhythm. And exercises that include asymmetrical bilateral motion, which can mean, I'm going to throw a cross with my right arm and then a hook with my left, or I'm going to strike with my right arm with a stick in the hand, and then I'm going to check with my left arm. These are things that are asymmetrical and bilateral, meaning I'm using both sides of my body. But also that circles back around to gardening and things of that nature. So not everything needs to be martial arts related for you to get the benefit. But it is, martial arts does encompass a lot of these things. And exercises across center line are rhythmic in nature and include asymmetrical bilateral motion are shown to reduce Alzheimer's risk by up to 50%. And that doesn't mean that if you have a 4% risk of Alzheimer's, now you have a negative 46% chance of Alzheimer's. It means you have a 2% chance. But even if you only had a 1% chance, you're just cutting half a percentage off, it's worth doing. So that puts exercise at the top of my list there. Second, and less common, and I do feel the need to preface this with the next two are things that you may have already heard of and dismissed as wow, that sounds like the kind of thing that somebody who sells crystals for well-being and energy regulation would say. And that's fair. So when I looked into these following two magic bullets, I found out that there have been many clinical and university studies on them, and I'm gonna cite the numbers from them, but I didn't write them down, so you're gonna have to Google them on your own. But they all come from PubMed, so they're not that hard to find. You can just Google PubMed benefits of, and then the topic. So the first one, or the second topic of this video, is breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are commonly associated with yoga, with Gong Fu's Qigong exercises, with Wim Hof specifically, he was who I was looking into when I was learning about these things, and they're commonly just dismissed, right? But it turns out within 20 seconds of 15 minutes of diaphragm breathing, which means that when you breathe, your stomach needs to be inflating too, you will see a reduction, a measurable reduction, of cortisol in your saliva. And cortisol is also known as a stress hormone, which means that it can help regulate or not help, but it can adversely affect your body's regulation of hunger and satiety hormones, which means that if you keep doing your breathing exercises, you might be less hungry. It could help you lose weight. The reason that this is important in this particular time is because not only does cortisol impact your hunger cues, it also negatively impacts your immune system. So it helps a lot in times of, I guess, plague, right, in pandemic times, to be doing your breathing exercises. I do mine maybe once or twice a day when I wake up or when I go to sleep. And I had, I guess it's confirmation bias. I haven't gotten sick, but I also haven't really left my house except to come here to my garage. But that's measurable that it reduces cortisol in the saliva samples. So take from that what you will. And third topic, cold showers. Nobody likes cold showers. I don't like cold showers. I think when Wim Hof talks about cold showers, I think he secretly hates them, but he's just not willing to admit it because it would impact his brand. But it was shown that people who showered in cold water for 60 seconds per day and did exercise, biked to work, had 30 non-consecutive minutes of brisk dedicated walking, etc., were 54% less likely to use their sick days for work for reasons of illness. Now, they might still be using their sick days to get a paid day to go to Disneyland, but they're not using them because they're too sick to work. And that to me was significant because, again, we're dealing with the COVID right now. So I looked more into that, and there were some things that made this easier. There are two things that made this pill easier to swallow. One, the temperature of the water doesn't strictly matter. It should be as cold as you personally can tolerate, but it doesn't need to be so cold. There's no arbitrary temperature there. It shouldn't be so cold that you're tensing up under the water and becoming uncomfortable, right? Two, you can get the benefits from only doing it for 10 seconds. They're just not as significant. The study measured the benefits at 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds. So, while 60 was the most amount of time that you were there and it got the most benefit, it was also the highest they went. I assume that you can get greater benefits from staying in under cold water for longer, but I don't know. So, take your chances with that because it is unpleasant. But you've got to figure at some point there's going to be diminishing returns. But there you go. So those are my three magic bullets for improving your mood, your incidence of anxiety and depression. All three of these things have reported back reduced incidence of anxiety and depression. They help with weight loss. They help with really anything. And if you do all of them for the recommended period of time, 30 minutes of exercise, 15 minutes of deep breathing and 60 seconds of cold water, you're tired, uncomfortable, or bored for 46 minutes a day. It's not that long. So, yeah, stay safe out there. Try not to get the COVID, and, maybe consider adding these to your daily schedule. Have a good one.